The champagne fountain sparkled like liquid diamonds under the ballroom's crystal chandeliers, and I tried to disappear behind it. There she is. Everyone, meet my sister Nina. Careful, she'll steal your wallet. My sister Victoria's voice carried across the elegant ballroom of the Grandmont Hotel, her manicured finger pointing directly at me. The 100-plus guests at her engagement party turned to stare, their designer clothes rustling like judgment. Laughter rippled through the crowd, the kind that comes easy when you're holding Dom Pérignon and wearing Cartier. Victoria stood at the center of it all, resplendent in her custom Vera Wang dress, her enormous engagement ring catching the light like a weapon. I'm kidding, of course, she continued, though her smile was sharp as glass. Nina only dates rich men. She's between victims right now, but she brought her latest project. She paused for dramatic effect, unemployed. More laughter. Someone actually slow-clapped. I felt James tense beside me. He was wearing his only suit, a simple navy one we'd found at a thrift store last month. Next to the Tom Ford and Armani surrounding us, he looked exactly like what Victoria wanted him to look like, out of place. Stop, I whispered to him, seeing his jaw clench. She's not worth it. But Victoria wasn't done. She was on a stage now, metaphorically and literally, standing on the raised platform where the band had been playing. Her fiancé, Preston Wellington IV, stood beside her, chuckling into his whiskey. Remember her last boyfriend? The dentist. Victoria's voice took on a mock-sympathetic tone. Poor guy didn't realize Nina was tallying his net worth on their first date. And the lawyer before that? She had him buying her jewelry by week 2. Oh, and the investment banker. That's enough, Vic, I called out, my voice steadier than I felt. Is it? She tilted her head, her blonde hair cascading perfectly. I'm just warning these nice people. Especially the men. Lock up your credit cards, gentlemen. My sister has expensive taste and sticky fingers. Sticky fingers? Preston laughed, his prep school accent thick with alcohol. So she's not just a gold digger, she's a thief? The room erupted. These people, who didn't know me from Adam, were laughing at me like I was the evening's entertainment. I recognized some of them from the society pages. Hedge fund managers, real estate moguls, trust fund babies who'd never worked a day in their lives. I stood there in my $40 dress from Target, feeling every thread, every sale rack decision. But it wasn't shame I felt. It was rage. Pure, crystalline rage. Because Victoria knew the truth. She knew about every relationship, every breakup, every heartbreak. The dentist? He'd cheated with his hygienist. The lawyer? A cocaine problem he'd hidden until I found him passed out in my bathroom. The investment banker? He'd tried to control every aspect of my life, from what I wore to who I could see. But those details didn't fit her narrative. In her version, I was the villain, the grasping, greedy sister who couldn't keep a man unless his bank account was fat enough. Tell them about the CEO, someone called out. I heard that was spectacular. Victoria's eyes lit up. Oh, Gregory Ashford? God, that was embarrassing. Nina thought she'd hit the jackpot. Followed him around like a puppy until his wife showed up. I didn't know he was married, I said, but my voice was drowned in the laughter. Sure you didn't, Preston smirked. Just like you don't know this one's unemployed. He gestured at James with his whiskey glass. What's the angle here, sweetheart? Insurance policy? Trust fund you haven't discovered yet. James moved before I could stop him. Not aggressively, just forward into the light, into their space. He looked calm. Dangerously calm. Actually, James said, his voice cutting through the noise like a blade through silk, I'd like to address this properly. Victoria laughed. Oh, this should be good. What are you going to do, defend her honor? How sweet. Very romantic. Very broke. James smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. You know, I've been coming to this hotel since I was 5 years old. My grandfather used to bring me here for lunch every Sunday after church. Ah, someone cooed mockingly. Did he work in the kitchen? In a way, James said. He pulled out his phone, typed something quickly. Mr. Chin? Yes, it's me. I'm in the grand ballroom. Could you come up? And bring the paperwork. Yes, the full portfolio. Victoria's smile flickered. What are you doing? I'm buying your venue, James said simply. The room went quiet. Someone laughed nervously. He's joking, right? James pulled out his checkbook, not a wallet, an actual leather-bound checkbook. How much do you think this place is worth? The Grandmont Hotel? Built in 1923, 48 rooms, 2 restaurants, this ballroom. Historical landmark status. You're embarrassing yourself, Preston said, but his voice had lost some of its smugness. The ballroom doors opened. An elderly Chinese man in an impeccable suit walked in, followed by two younger men carrying briefcases. "Mr. Zhang," the older man said, bowing slightly. "I have the papers as requested." Zhang. Not James Smith, which is what he'd told everyone. Zhang, as in Zhang International Holdings. As in the company that owned half the commercial real estate in the city. "Thank you, Mr. Chun." James, Mr. Zhang, took the papers. "The asking price was 42 million, correct?" "Yes, sir. Though your father suggested we could negotiate to 38. "No need." James wrote the check with the same calm he'd shown all evening. 42 is fair. I want the transfer immediate. And Mr. Chin? Clear the ballroom. Everyone out except. He looked at me, his expression softening for the first time. Except her. "You can't do this." Victoria's voice had gone shrill. "This is my engagement party. I paid for this room. And you'll be refunded," Mr. Chin said smoothly. "However, the new owner has requested the space be vacated. You have 10 minutes to collect your belongings." "This is illegal." Preston stepped forward. "You can't just." "I can and I did," James said. "Security will help you out if needed." The room exploded into chaos. People were pulling out phones, Googling frantically. I heard whispers. "Zhang International. Holy shit. His father is David Zhang. They're worth billions." Victoria's face had gone from red to white. "Nina, don't," I said quietly. "Just don't." "But I didn't know." "That's exactly the point," James interrupted. "You didn't know. You saw a guy in a cheap suit and assumed. You saw your sister happy and assumed the worst. You've spent years painting her as a gold digger when the truth is, she's the only person in my entire life who didn't know or care about my money." He turned to the crowd, his voice carrying. "She thinks I work at a bookstore. We met when I was reading in the park. I told her I was between jobs, trying to figure out my life. She bought me coffee because she thought I couldn't afford it. She's been paying for our dates because she thinks I'm broke and too proud to admit it." "That's," Victoria stammered. "That's ridiculous. Nina always knows. Your sister," James cut her off, "is a pediatric nurse who spends her weekends volunteering at the free clinic. She drives a 10-year-old Honda and lives in a studio apartment because she sends half her paycheck to support kids in foster care. She mends her own clothes and clips coupons and has never once asked me for anything except my time." Security guards had appeared, politely but firmly ushering people toward the exits. Preston tried to argue, but a look from Mr. Chin silenced him. "You know what the irony is?" James continued, watching as the room emptied. "I was going to tell her tonight. After your party. I was going to finally be honest about who I am, what I have. I wanted to do it right, make sure she knew it didn't matter, that I loved her for exactly who she is." Victoria stood frozen on her little stage, her perfect party crumbling around her. I didn't mean." "Yes, you did," I said, finding my voice at last. "You've meant it every time. Every family dinner where you made jokes about my gold-digging ways. Every birthday where you introduced me as your sister who's looking for a sugar daddy. Every single time you made me feel small for wanting to be loved. But you dated rich guys." "I dated guys who happened to have money," I corrected. "And when they turned out to be cheaters or addicts or control freaks, I left. Every time. If I was a gold digger, wouldn't I have stuck around? Wouldn't I have tolerated anything for the paycheck?" The ballroom was nearly empty now. Preston had been escorted out, still blustering about lawsuits. The guests were gone, the band was packing up, the champagne fountain stood abandoned. "Please," Victoria whispered. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. You humiliated me," I said simply. "In front of everyone. You took every painful breakup, every failed relationship, and turned it into a punchline. You made me a joke because it made you feel bigger." 10 minutes are up," Mr. Chin announced gently. Victoria looked at me one last time, tears finally cracking her perfect makeup. Then she walked out, her designer heels clicking on the marble floor, her fairy tale engagement party ending in a nightmare of her own making. When the doors closed behind her, James and I were alone in the vast ballroom. The silence felt surreal after all that noise. "So," I said finally, "Zhang International Holdings?" He winced. "I can explain." "You bought a hotel," I interrupted. "You just spent $42 million because my sister was mean to me." "Actually," he said, attempting a smile, "it's a great investment. Prime location, historical significance. My father's been trying to buy it for years. James. Okay, yes. I bought it because she was cruel to you. Because they all were. Because you stood there and took it with grace when you should have been celebrated. You're the best person I know, Nina. You deserve better than their mockery. I walked to him slowly, my target dress swishing against my legs. I don't need you to buy hotels for me. I know. I don't need your money or your protection or your grand gestures. I know that too. I need, I said, reaching him at last, you to be honest with me. No more pretending. No more lies, even kind ones. He nodded, taking my hands. My name is James Zhang. My father owns half the city. I have more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. And I'm completely, utterly in love with a pediatric nurse who tried to pay for my coffee because she has the kindest heart I've ever known. Why didn't you tell me? His laugh was rueful. Because the last woman I dated Googled my net worth before dessert. The one before that had our wedding planned by date 3. You were the first person in years to see just me. James who reads in the park. James who likes obscure poetry and bad coffee. I was selfish. I wanted to keep being just James a little longer. I understood. In his world of private jets and board meetings, he just wanted to be normal. The same way in my world of failed relationships and family mockery, I just wanted to be loved. So what now? I asked. You own a hotel. I'm apparently dating a billionaire. My sister probably hates me. This is all very complicated. He pulled me closer. Or it's very simple. I love you. You love me. Everything else is just noise. The chandelier light made shadows dance across the empty ballroom. Somewhere in the city, Victoria was probably spinning the story already, making herself the victim. Tomorrow, my phone would explode with family drama and questions and accusations. But tonight, in this ballroom that cost $42 million to defend my honor, I kissed the man who'd seen me for exactly who I was. Not a gold digger. Not a joke. Just Nina. For what it's worth, I said against his lips, I would have been happy with you just telling her off. The hotel purchase might have been overkill. He grinned. Maybe. But did you see her face? I laughed, really laughed, for the first time all evening. Preston looked like he was going to faint. Good. Though I feel a little bad for the legitimate guests who got kicked out. We should probably let them back in, I agreed. After we dance. There's no music. And so we danced in the empty ballroom. No music except what we made ourselves. Two people who'd found each other in the park and built something real in a world full of facades. Later, James would sell the hotel back to the original owners at a loss, considering it money well spent on teaching my sister a lesson. Later, I would face my family and their questions and their sudden change of heart about my poor life choices. Later, we would navigate the complex world of his wealth and my stubbornness about maintaining my independence. But that night, we just danced. A billionaire and a nurse, a secret revealed and a truth exposed, a love that was worth more than all the hotels in the world. And somewhere in the city, Victoria learned that sometimes the real gold digger is the one who measures everyone else's worth in dollars and cents, while missing the treasure right in front of them.